Chapter 85. Sure, typically normal humans even augmented a bit by chi or other ninja nonsense wouldn't be able to do shit to Drakul Karfang's corpse to process it. But the ninjas did have tools made by the local dwarves that I allowed into my realm. They were gruff little bastards and were admittedly a bit ornery, but with them literally living deep underground in my realm, living off the moss, chickens, and other small stuff they grew in the massive caverns they opened in my realm. I literally couldn't care less what they were doing deep underground, as they did architectural work on the surface when I asked, and in the worst case, I could just compress down the earth of the realm and cave in all the caverns they made. That, and I had their leaders sign a blood-bound oath to me as their liege lord, as the owner and creator of this world, with the conditions that I protected their holds upon this world. So, I could trust them a good bit. Thus, with the help of the dwarves, Drakul Karfang's corpse was processed with little issues, and as a reward for their efforts I gave the dwarves some of the scales and hide they removed for their own use, as I tasked them to make a couple of axes out of the teeth of the dragon's bones that broke off during the battle and retrieval process. "My lord, do you still plan to go after Azazyel?" Astrid asked respectfully as she stepped out of my shadow after the dwarves left my throne room, after I charged them with making some axes out of the couple of dragon teeth that broke off and shattered during the fighting. At Astrid's question, I hummed in thought as I thought back to the small mountain of treasure I retrieved before shaking my head. No. I told that fairy that I would be heading to the Fey Court's plane, and I rather not be known as someone who is late. Besides, the auction is tomorrow. I cannot go kill Azazyel and retrieve the bounties upon the beast without taking a few days to go all around fairy talking to the lords that swore the payment for its death. I said, grimacing as I wondered if I should get the golden apple tree cuttings so I could try to have the trees grown within my realm, or if I should get that space storage bracelet. Granted, I had zero chance to grow the divine golden apple trees that were once guarded by the dragon Laden. But I had an easy solution. I could just grab poison ivy and make her my gardener and fill the realm with plant life. Either way, I spent some time with Raven and Galatea today after my hunt, and I think it's time I headed off to this auction, I said as I got back to my feet and saw Astrid about to fly into my shadow. I stopped her. "No, Astrid, this is a private auction and the beings within will not appreciate me trying and failing to break the rules," I said as Astrid merely dipped her head to me in deference, and then, with nothing else to deal with, I took a step forwards, taking me out of my realm as I began walking across fairy to reach the Fey Court's plane. My jaunt through the Fey roads were pretty simple and no eldritch monster bothered me. Though with using my traveler essence I did see some weird stuff, like Batman trying to feed Damien only to get the bowl of sweet potatoes splashed across his batsuit, leaving the young Jason Todd in the background to burst into laughter at the scene of Batman freezing in place as the sweet potato puree sliding down his costume. There was that, and of the even weirder things like coming across worlds both fantastical or just made no sense, such as this one I came across that had its gravity reversed, so I almost fell off the path to fall into the sky below me, so I quickly had to make my way past that world, as seeing the trees growing upside down from the weird purple ground above me was weird as hell. Eventually, I reached the Fey Court realm, with it being an eternal twilight, as the realm was always torn between the bright summer day of the summer court and the frigid deadly winter night of the winter court. Titania is likely in the largest summer-style building, I suppose. I thought as I flew up into the air, and with a powerful flex of my spiritual might I thrashed aside the bindings of the Fey Court that attempted to automatically bind me to their rules and games. I had absolutely zero interest in playing such games and would rather not have the protection of said rules, so I could in turn do whatever the hell I wanted to whoever messed with me. With my powerful flex of spiritual might, I could feel another powerful soul blinking its magical power almost seemingly to get my attention in the far distance, so with a shrug I sped off in a series of sonidos that made my body all but a blur as I flew across the plane's surface until I reached the source of the power I felt. "Yup, that's Titania," I muttered, rolling my eyes as I took in the massive jade-green castle that was closer to a temple built next to a lake that reflected off the twilight sun's soft rays of light and bounced it off the green jade building, so it looked like a wavy mirage. I didn't need to feel Titania's smug soul radiating its joy at how I paused to check out her home to know how that's how she felt. Then, before I could take more time to admire the life-filled surroundings, space warped around me as Titania attempted to pull a power play and teleport me to her. But I just flexed my spiritual might, taking control of the spatial spell that tried to guide me to her, and I pirated a sonido that made an unholy screeching noise as air was blasted aside in my rough teleportation in front of Titania. I thought it was merely decent manners to allow a guest to admire the grounds before dragging their forms inside the home. Or are you merely that uncouth, Titania? I joked, rubbing salt in the wound at how her actions were not typically in the Fey manner of guest rights. But she was trying to get one over me. Titania was a fully human-sized fairy with a voluptuous form, green hair, and blue eyes, and was lounging on a long couch as several smaller lesser female fairies brushed over her form with large leaves, and at my prodding her once beautiful face was twisted in a slight scowl.